Hi guys, this week we're going to start talking about the four forces that affect motion. Okay, and we're going to do this by talking about paper airplanes. Have you ever played with paper airplanes? Of course you have, it's super fun. I'm not very good at building a paper airplane, so I think you guys are going to teach me a lot this week. Let's see here. Did you know that air has pressure? Take your hand and put it in front of your body like this, with your thumb facing up and your palm facing outwards. Now move your hand back and forth. Do you feel the air hitting your hand as you move it back and forth? I can feel it more on the back of my hand than on my palm, but I can feel the air moving. Now take your hand and make it so your palm is facing downwards and your thumb is facing out, and move it back and forth. Do you still feel the same amount of air? Probably not. Your hand is hitting less air when it's like this because it's traveling, and only this much of your hand right here is hitting the air. Whereas if you have it turned this way, all of this is hitting the air. How smoothly your hand or your paper airplane moves through the air is called aerodynamics. And it's the first thing you're going to want to consider when making a paper airplane fly for a long distance. There are four forces around a plane, and this is airplanes that we fly in if we're going to the beach, or our paper airplanes. But there are four forces. There's a force that pushes the plane up, one that pushes the plane down, one that pushes the plane forward, and one that pushes the plane backwards. Okay? Paper airplanes fly further and longer when all of those are balanced. So that's what we're going to talk about, is how we can kind of balance out those four effects of motion to make our airplane fly. And you guys are going to get to build paper airplanes and see how far they fly. Okay, so today we're going to talk about lift. We're all familiar with gravity, right? Gravity is what pulls us down to the ground. It's what's holding us on the ground. Lift is the opposite of gravity. So lift pushes our paper airplane up towards the sky. All right. In the chart, I already started writing on it, so you saw it just a second ago, but in our chart, gravity is what's pulling us down. Lift is what's pulling us up. Okay. Your essential question for this week is going to be, what are the four forces of motion? And I'm going to want you to define each force. So lift and gravity are two of your forces of motion. The wings are the part of an airplane that create lift. If you were to look at an airplane from the side, it would look sort of like a teardrop shape. It has thick, rounded front end with a thin, pointed back end. The curve on the top of the wing is longer than the bottom, which means air traveling across the top of the wing has to move faster to keep up with air moving underneath the wing. This creates a difference in air pressure. Low pressure above the wing and high pressure below the wing. And this causes the plane to lift up because the higher pressure is pushing the plane up. I have a drawing for you in my notes that I hope helps. Make sure I got it lined up here. As you can see, the orange is the wing and the red is the air that is going to be pushed, and it has to split and go around the wing. So because the wing has a curve, it's going to have to travel faster over the top of the wing than it is under the wing, so that way the air catches up and closes that gap. That's what's creating your difference in air pressure. And then the higher pressure created underneath the wing gives you lift. Make sense? If not, message me, I'll help you. Many airplanes have flaps on the front and back edges of their wings. During takeoff and landing, pilots extend the flaps to increase the curve of the wing. This maintains the lift at slower speeds. After takeoff, the pilot retracts the flaps to normal. Think about a bird's feathers. Might they work the same way as flaps on an airplane? When building a paper airplane, which you will do later on this week, what do you think you're going to need to include? Wings, a body, a propeller, weight. Think about the four forces of motion. Start thinking about what you might use around your house to create a paper airplane. Now make sure it's safe. I don't want you to go to mom and dad and say, but Mrs. Conklin said. No, Mrs. Conklin did not say. You can use paper, tissue paper, cardboard, whatever you think is going to be safe.